a report card from the press. President Trump bracing for the media response as he approaches the 100-day mark of his presidency. Trump tweeting, quote, "No matter how much I accomplish during the ridiculous standard of the first 100 days, and it has been a lot, the media will kill." Well, here now, Guy Benson from townhall.com, political editor. He's also a Fox News contributor, and Capri Cafaro, former Democratic Ohio State Minority Leader. And Guy, I've got to start with you on this one. Many see the first 100 days as a bellwether for the president's ability to govern. So is he right? Is it a ridiculous standard? And where is he going to fall out?
Well, I think that you can make both arguments, right? I think that the first 100 days is a bit of a media construct, and presidents can, of course, accomplish a lot beyond their first 100 days. And so he's trying to call that out a little bit, saying, look, there's plenty of time to go. Let's not obsess over the first 100 days. That being said, he himself did refer to that standard early in his presidency and shortly after he was elected. He said we're going to get a lot done very quickly with the Republican majorities. And so far, legislatively at least, that hasn't come to pass. So it cuts both ways.
All right, so not legislatively, but he has taken a lot of executive actions to roll back Obama-era regulations. And Capri, I have to ask you, do you think that his successes will be recognized, or how do you think he's going to be graded here?
I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder, if you will. I think that there will be some that will try to point to, for example, the nomination and confirmation of Justice Gorsuch as a victory, as well as some of these other executive orders showing that he's trying to take action. But at the end of the day, as Guy said, President Trump, even before he was elected, basically did this speech in Gettysburg saying, this is what I'm going to do in the first 100 days. And so he set that bar for himself. And what I think President Trump has been met with is the fact that government does not work at the speed of business. And I think a lot of the things he thought was going to be easy to do because Republicans control, both chambers of the House and the Senate, as well as the White House, that things would sail through. And I don't think he banked on some of the other roadblocks that he was going to get when he finally arrived in the swamp.
That's such a good point. He's an executive. He brought a lot of executives into the administration, and this is a big bureaucracy the government is with a lot of moving parts. But Guy, let's take a look at some of his accomplishments so far. Of course, he's going to be criticized on health care, but let's look at some of the executive orders, how he stacks up against former presidents. So President Trump has signed 25 executive orders in his first 100 days. That's compared to 19 for President Obama, 11 for George Bush 43, 13 for Clinton. So for critics who are going to slam Trump for not taking action, do you think that these numbers prove them wrong? Do these executive orders matter in that sense?
Well, partially. So you have to sort of define your terms here, though, because if you're looking at accomplishments, signing something as an executive order, some of which are just saying we're going to make a plan to do something else, you can say that's an achievement. Some of them have been more impactful than others. I think he's well within his rights for the most part to be doing this. But I think the larger questions are what legislation is passing, what are some of the lasting things he's getting done, because executive orders, as President Obama learned, can be undone with the stroke of a pen when the next guy or gal shows up. And so that's why I think the more lasting the stuff that's going to be with us for a while is he has signed a number of bills passed by Congress on the Congressional Review Act, which is a way of undoing last-minute regulations from Obama. Those are legislative accomplishments that the president has signed into law. And also, I think we heard before, it's true, Justice Gorsuch is a massive accomplishment from this president, probably the biggest one of his first 100 days.
And that's so true about Justice Gorsuch. But Capri, going back to you, the legislative accomplishments, or some would say lack thereof at this point, is one of the points that's going to be criticized for the Trump administration so far. So do you think Congress is going to be blamed, at least partly, when they look at the legislative accomplishments at this point in the game?
Well, I mean, I think they do shoulder at least some of the blame. You look at Speaker Ryan, I think that, again, here is an individual who is somewhat new in his role as Speaker, and I don't think that they were truly prepared for the acrimony between the Freedom Caucus and the Tuesday Group, and I think that's been part of the problem, the lack of ability to be able to bring these factions of the Republican Party together towards a common goal, I think is partially at least the House's fault. The Senate, frankly, frankly, I think Mitch McConnell and others they delivered on the appointment, not only for the Supreme Court, but most of the cabinet. You know, they seem to be able to get things done a little bit easier on their end, even if it means bringing the nuclear option, for example. The House, you know, continues to be in disarray, but I think part of that is also lack of direction from the White House, because there seems to be a lack of understanding from some of the finer points of policy. So, you know, it's one thing to say we want to do this great health care deal. It's another thing for the administration to say this is what we will accept and this is what we won't, and provide a partnership with the leadership in the House.
Yeah, well, this first 100 days has gone very quickly. We will see what they're able to accomplish next week. Thank you to Guy and Capri.